So look, I'm from San Diego. So actually, as a high school student, I worked at SAIC. And then one of my summer internship jobs was working for the Aerospace Corporation, which you know is a consultant to the Air Force in LA. Now, I was there for the summer. I didn't have any top secret clearances, but it was wild to see kind of what goes on inside there. And I can believe you when you say there's all these cubby holes of like you said, the commercial interests intersecting with the government interests, and it's hard to know who's in charge. Funny enough, it seems a little bit like when I was wondering who was protecting my freedom of speech on social media platforms. The government said it's a private corporation. The private corporation said you signed our community policy. Meanwhile, they were collaborating in the background, violating my rights. So it's not the same thing, but it seems like a weird, again, like catch-22 situation. Now you said...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And there are some striking parallels between at the playbook of how they've kept control over the public, the media, and opinion on the UFO issue, and what they did with COVID. And also, I might add, what they did with 9/11, but that's a diversion.
Yeah, no, I see quite a few parallels. And again, like with my science background, I still remember, 3 years ago, it's a bit of a tangent, but I think it's relevant. I had a conversation with Robert Kennedy Jr., and this was right during the lockdowns. And I had the science background, so I was all pro-vaccine because the science had taught me that was the right thing. I went to talk to Robert F. Kennedy, and he started breaking down everything that happened from a legal perspective, the lack of liability, and all of these things. By the end of that episode, I was really starting to question my scientism. And I started realizing, wait a second, this has all been co-opted. The media is involved because there's billions, if not trillions of dollars on the line. So your pure science background isn't going to help you when humans and emotions and money and power is involved. And so, the more of what I hear about what you're talking about, it seems like maybe that was the original, whitewash operation and using media, and now even using some of these private, public, strange layers to keep things from the public. What you said that just alarmed me was if they go after these projects from a law enforcement perspective, that they might fight back and shoot on sight. And so where are these, are we talking in New Mexico where these things are located? Or I'm just curious, where are these things, or we don't know where these things are, the underground sites, et cetera?
Well, if you look at our National Press Club event, we actually put up on the screen a map of where all these facilities are. And we have a list of them that we've also published. So that actually is available to the public now. So one of the things we're trying to do, however, is get a more specific level of detail to the members of Congress and to the investigators so they can go to these sites and actually see something meaningful. But the point I want to make is they're not going to, let's say they're not going to turn these over by you knocking on the door. I know at the hearing, you heard some of the members of Congress say they went down to Eglin Air Force Base because they had heard, but they didn't know the compartment. They didn't know the exact location, which was a mistake. They didn't go there with law enforcement. And this is like going to the front door of a pizza parlor that's the front for the mafia and saying, I want to see the money laundering and drug running operation out of your back room. And they're just going to open the door and say, hey, yeah, come on in, y'all. No, that isn't how this works. I can tell you that if they have stiff-armed presidents and threatened very high-ranking people in the Pentagon, let's not forget that, back in the 90s, I did my due diligence by briefing, for example, the head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, what's called J2, Admiral Wilson. And he was denied access to the projects after I got him a 1990s Nellis Air Force Base, Area 51, the secret document that listed the project code names, which I have. And he inquired about it. He ended up being threatened personally and told they would demote him and take a star off his lapel. Now they told him when he said, look, I'm the head of intelligence, Joint Chiefs of Staff. I want to be read into, which is military speak for briefed, on this project. And they said, we won't tell you. And they said, you don't have a need to know. He said, how can I not have a need to know? I'm the head of intelligence joint staff. And they said, sir, we will not discuss this with you. And they hung up on him and blocked him. So the same thing happened to the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Now, for those of you who aren't American, the DIA is like the CIA, but for military, for the whole Pentagon. The director of that organization that most certainly has compartmented cells working this subject, because I have whistleblowers from DIA that I've debriefed. When he tried to find out about the issue, he was ridiculed first that someone gave him a little ET doll from a toy store, making fun of him, and then flat out denied that anything was going on. And this is a 3-star. This is General Patrick Hughes. So the reason I share these accounts is that I have a very, very long history of having gone through the system in the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, United States, all the Five Eyes countries, as they're called, except New Zealand, and found that this same pattern exists. You know, when I met with your Minister of Defense in the United Kingdom, Lord Hill Norton, before he passed away, he had been denied access to any information on this when he was head of the MOD, Ministry of Defense, and also MI5 and MI6. And he said, why? I said, well, because they know that you are an upstanding guy, legal, patriotic, and that if you had found out that this kind of criminal activity was going on something this important, you wouldn't have stood for it, would you? He says, no, I wouldn't have. I said, that's why they didn't tell you. So let me give people a little quick, sort of briefer on who's in and who's out. They basically do a ethical and psychological profile to see if you are someone willing to be rather sociopathic, break the law, and take matters into your own hands. And they give you little bits of tasks and information. And that's how they're recruited up to the upper end of this. The sad part of it is most of the guys that are on my team who've been at these covert bases, whether it's at Kirkland in New Mexico or Area 51 in Nevada or Edwards or Dugway in Utah, wherever it is, Wright-Patterson, they were just following orders. I mean, they were not high enough to know that this was operating in an unsanctioned, illegal fashion. So one of the things that I'm asking for on this show is that this gets passed around to people in those commands and in those corporations, and understand that I can state with absolute certainty that the projects that you are in are in fact illegal and unconstitutional. And therefore, when legal representatives of the United States appear, you are to cooperate. And you are not to follow your OPSECs, your Operation Security Protocols, which include lethal force, unfortunately, at some of these facilities. So that is something I'm making very, very clear on every show I'm on, because between you and me and the fence posts and the millions of people listening, the status quo on this is not going to stand much longer.
Okay.
And there are people, I'm going to use a term used to me by very senior special forces people. We are fed up with being the have-nots. In other words, being, putting their lives on the line every day, and they find out there's a group that's completely in violation of the oath they took to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So I think that as I see it, and not all of this, all I can do is advise, but I just do not believe that the status quo is going to hang together. Now, there's a risk in this. The ultimate false flag operation would be for the folks in control of these advanced technologies to launch what we call a false flag, or deceptive indication and warning is what's called the Pentagon, regarding this issue, where they could stage what would look like an alien attack, like something out of a Hollywood movie. And it would look to everyone very convincing, but 100% of it would be our man-made assets out of the Northrop complexes and the Llano plant. We know where the plants are.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.